Hey everybody, Gran Turismo 7 recently had a time trial event at Road Atlanta. Now this is my first time trial I'm taking a part of, and the goal time is a 1:34.1. Let's see how I did. Like I mentioned before, this is my first time trial, and I quickly realized how much of a different skill it is as opposed to racing. If you watched my last video, you heard me mention that there are a bunch of different types of opponents that you can face on a racetrack, but in time trials, there's only one foe present: yourself. Being a native Alabamian, I have a love-hate relationship with Atlanta. I love it because I got married there. I would take weekend trips there back in my youth and college. Ted Turner's Bison Burger is there. It's Wakanda. Shout out to all my people. But I hate Atlanta. I hate Atlanta because in Birmingham, that's kind of what you're trained to do. There's definitely some little brother beef there that I inherited and proudly carry to this day. Gucci Man has famously false claimed Atlanta, even though he went to Lawson State, that's located in Alabama. The traffic is a mess. The wings are overrated. I'm getting a bit off track here, but it's my video, so whatever. I think my feelings on Atlanta have changed after this session, though. I may need to even go back and visit Road Atlanta and do some real life racing and karting. We'll see. But before we do that, we need to learn this track's digital twin here on Gran Turismo. First lap done, crossing the line with a 1:35.5, so we got a bit of work to do. A goal time again is a 1:34.1, so 1.4 seconds is what we're after for that gold medal, and more importantly, the 2 million credits, because these cars are not free. Hopping on board here for the downhill section of Sector 1. The key here is to really abuse the track limits, which I do a pretty good job of here, gaining on the Ghost. Crossing the timeline with a 36.7. Headed down the back straight, the only place you really get some rest on this track. Across the timeline at a minute 12. I'm really looking for the mid 11s to be on the real heater. Coming through the final chicane here, trying to hold on to those 3/10 I gained. Not really able to do it. This was probably my weakest part of the track, where we crossed the line. Minor improvement, 35.4. Next lap, I'm consistent, which is key. Another 35.4. And now I'm looking for improvements. Coming here through the hairpin leading onto the back straight. Getting a pretty good exit this time. You can see the time at the bottom just go up. Gained about 3 seconds there just through those couple of corners. So that's always good. Now we're in those mid 11s like I mentioned. Looking for the 300 board there on the left. And then again, we want slow is smooth, smooth is fast through here. Able to again increase. Now I'm about half a second up, hurling towards the line. And this lap came in at a 34.9, which was good enough for a silver time. So we're moving on up, but we're not there yet. Round 2, turn 1. Tishney recommends a minimum speed of 90 miles per hour through here. I dipped down to 84 there, so I know that's a spot for some possible improvement. There's a saying about relationships that the foot they start on is the foot they're going to be on. And that rings very true here. This track is very heavy on momentum, so your performance through turn 1 will honestly make or break your whole lap, especially in a car like this Ford, which can lose all of its momentum if you just put one foot down, like I did there, validating the lap. And you really just gotta be keen on it. It's a strange kind of balance of trying to push and maximize the car and still, color in between the lines. Because if you don't, you'll get your lap invalidated. And I got a lot of laps invalidated during this session. We can see right here, starting lap 3, just carrying a bit too much speed through there. So this lap's kaput. And anybody that's time trialed before knows this feeling of sometimes just gotta send yourself to heaven. Getting right back into it. I'm at a 34.9 at this point. Minimum speed this time. Still hit 84, but we got a lot better line through there, keeping it a little bit closer to the apex. You can see the gains you can just get 3/10 just like that. And now the name of the game is just trying to hold on to them. Coming through the downhill section here again, slight little left to get the car turned, abusing track limits. Trying to carry as much speed as possible through this tricky left-hander. I don't do the best of jobs here. Losing a 10. The ghost reset. That's another little thing we'll hit a little bit later. Looking for the exit road on the right there. Keeping it in third gear. Third gear is really your best friend in this car. Second gear, you really want to stay away from as much as possible. Kind of the same with sixth gear. Really likes being revved out a bit. Got a pretty good exit out of the hairpin there. I got that 10th back, so that's always happy days. And if we can hold on to this, we're going to be into the mid 34s. We're coming across the timeline there at an 11.1, so that's all good and kosher. Taking the final chicane very smoothly, and again, getting a couple of more tenths there. 6 tenths down to this point, and we crossed the line and a respectable 34.3. Now that I'm warmed up, 34.1, and I want to go to heaven. I want to go to heaven, and I'm gold. So the story could end here, but I'm a little bit of a sicko. I took a look at the friends list, and I want number one. TK's put up a flyer of a 33.2, so the rest of this video is going to be us chasing that. Let's see if we can make it happen. So this next journey started with some pain. Lap 2 was quickly invalidated there, and I didn't let it get to me as much as I was before. I learned time trialing was mostly about having patience with yourself. A lap will only be wasted if you waste it, and I decided to try to learn something from each lap. That's exactly what I did here. You can see coming over the crest here, I gained 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths there, and that informed me of the line I should be taking on every lap. It really helped my consistency through the final sector. Fast forwarding here through lap number 3, about 3 tenths up at this point, but definitely still losing time. Get it a bit sloppy through this left-hander, losing 2 tenths through there. And again, even when you're losing time, you can always learn something. You got to continue to press on. Coming into the right-hander here, notice I'm gaining just a couple of hundredths of a second there, which every second counts when you're up against yourself on the clock. And luckily here I got a pretty good exit, got a 10th. But here's what I really wanted to show you. How you see I'm a 10th down here, but after learning what I just learned, able to get on the power pretty early. And look at here, we are 5 tenths up, 6 tenths up, and we don't get the full 7 back, but we get those 6 back. And validating through there, a little bit of too much speed, but it just goes to show you again, really just gotta stick with it through all the mistakes, through all the highs and the lows. Just be gentle with yourself. You're not gonna get the time you're looking for on the first lap. It's actually pretty interesting when I would go and look at some replays. These are the top drivers in the world, and if you notice how many laps they put in to get there, they're up in the 50s, 60s, just clicking laps off metronomically almost. They're not even probably trying to, or, they're trying to break the world record, but I'm sure they have a realization that they're not going to do it in the first 3 laps. You're not just going to hop up out the bed, get out the shower, hop on the rig, and then be Lewis Hamilton or Verstappen. Seat time is really the secret to getting fast. The secret's in the sweat. The secret's in the work you've been avoiding. So stop avoiding the work. Lap 7 here is another example of why you got to stick with this sometimes. Things start off really well for me through T1 here, but as you'll see in a bit at the top of the hill, I again invalidate the lap. But since I was warmed up already, I decided to press on and see if I would be able to keep the time I had gained through the beginning of the lap. Coming through the left-hander here, kind of got that hooked up, and you can see gaining a tenth through there, so 2/10 in hands at this point. Coming through the right-hander, closing the gap on the Ghost a little bit more. And here is the real key part right here. This exit out of the hairpin again, I'm able to really nail it. And by the time we're heading down the back straight, 4/10 up. So this is looking good. This is looking like a heater. If I'm able to keep this time in hand, I would have finally been able to crack the 34s and been in the high 33s. Again, we're looking for TK's time of a 33.2. So we're not close to that yet, but progress is progress. Got a pretty good exit out of the chicane there. You can see again, I'm able to get that time up, and we crossed the line with a 33.6. Now it didn't count, but I had set a baseline for myself as I drive off the track there. So at least I now know what I'm capable of, and now it comes down to execution. Those 2 laps right there I didn't execute very well. I decided to crash out 10 laps in. I know I was just talking all of that noise about sticking with it, but sometimes a crash out is necessary, you know? Let's check this next lap out. I was able to keep a minimum speed of 88 miles per hour through there, and that led me to being about 6/10 up coming through the downhill section. We crossed sector 1 with a 36.3, so we're really cooking now. Get a pretty good run through this right-hander, getting another 10th or 2. And here's the real key again. This back straight, this is where all the free time is going to be. Big priority corner. And we're able to be 8/10 up by the time we get to the end of the straight. We're at a minute 10.7, which is cooking. And we ultimately come home with that 33.6. We lose a little bit of the consistency here, but it's all good. And this time, I opt for a peaceful crash out, hitting the brake, hitting the exit, and check out the leaderboard where I'm right behind Papa, still 4/10 off of TK's, but ready to end my day and get started on the next one. So this next session started off slow again. The fastest I was able to do was a 33.6 again, and I was ready to make the call to Yahweh Elohim. Invalidating the lap here, I opened my cell phone, dialed 9, and let them know that I'm on the way. These last 4/10 were just such a challenge for me, but luckily here I was finally able to feel some light. Coming out of the chicane here again, 2/10 up at this point on that 33.7. All the math whizzes out there know that's going to put me close to a 33.5. Got a 33.4 there, so things are looking up. There's still 2/10 that elude me, and you can see here now I've gotten ahead of Papa, 7 more laps in, still sitting at that 33.4. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the lap you've been waiting to see. My best lap of this little journey, This has been a pleasure to put together for all of you. Let's see how this plane lands. Coming down the downhill section here, 2/10 up at this point. Again, looking for the beginning of the yellow and blue curving. Trying to carry as much speed through there as I possibly can. Do a pretty good job there. We're about 1/10 up at this point. Gaining a lot of speed through, carrying it very smoothly through this right handler. Finding another 2/10. So we're 4/10 up at this point. Thanks, Dora. Big exit out of the hairpin here. And now pedal to the metal, foot to the floor. And we're going to drive this thing like we stole it. We did kind of rent it again. I didn't buy this. Oh no, I did buy this for it. I lied. I got this nice ADR SAR livery on it, so my crew chief won't be screaming at me anymore to get the colors going. And here we go. We need a big final chicane here. Able to hold on to the time pretty well there. 4/10 up at this point, so if we can hold on to it, we'll be beating TK's. Giving it all I got at this point. We're going to cross the line with a 33.3, and the crowd goes mild. TK's, congratulations. I couldn't catch it this time, but I'll definitely be trying to catch it next time. 2 million credits on the board, though. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a pleasure to put together again. If you are or have watched to this point, go ahead and throw a checkered flag in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.